My prompt was, at the end of the novel, of the three main characters, who is dynamic and who is static, and explain why. So to start off, I believe it is safe to say that Ethan Frome is a static character. And the reason being, as mentioned in previous other speeches, that setting heavily influences the characters. And when you take a setting like Starkfield, Massachusetts, in which it is dark, cold, and wintry, it influences the characters' mindsets, their moods, and the decisions they make in a not-so-positive way. And this can be seen, for example, on page 70, when Ethan admits that had it not been wintertime, he would not have married Xena. And as well as on page 7 in the introduction, when Harmon Gow says that Ethan had remained in Starkfield for too many winters. So right off the bat, the narrator believes that Ethan's character development is due to the harsh climate. And this would make sense since Ethan is isolated in Starkfield and cannot leave to pursue his ambitions and change as a character. On page 14, the narrator comments that he seemed a part of the mute melancholy landscape, an incarnation of its frozen woe, with all that was warm and sentient in him fast bound below the surface. But there was nothing unfriendly in his silence. I simply felt that he lived in a depth of moral isolation too remote for casual access. And I had the sense that his loneliness was not merely the result of his personal plight, tragic as I guessed that to be, but had in it, as Harmon Gow had hinted, the profound accumulated cold of many Starkfield winters. So throughout the novel, Ethan is portrayed as extremely shy and submissive to Xena and Maddie. However, we witness a change in his demeanor as he confesses his love for Maddie and eventually plans an escape from Starkfield to leave Xena behind and start a life with Maddie. However, he drops these plans and sticks to his morals and decides to stay in Starkfield as he realizes that his plan is impossible. At the end of the novel, he is still a caretaker for not only Xena, but now for Maddie after the sledding accident, and he is still seen as miserable. So moving on, I would categorize Maddie as a dynamic character. She is seen as this bubbly, youthful lady that is not like the rest of the townspeople in Starkfield. She offers this sense of light in Ethan's life, and we can see this when he uses warm, colorful language to describe her. As the novel comes to an end, we see that Maddie begins to rely heavily on the help of the Fromes for not only company, but for shelter. And eventually, after the sledding accident, she is miserable. She relies solely on the help of Ethan to care for her, just as he had cared for Xena for so many years. Moving on to the last character, I would categorize Xena as a dynamic character as well. Throughout the novel, she is extremely ill to care for herself, and she is cranky. She relies on the help from Ethan and Maddie to care for her. And she is also portrayed as the antagonist because she interferes with Ethan and Maddie's relationship. Before, she was caring for Ethan's mother, caring for her when she was ill, and then eventually she falls ill to where she cannot care for herself. And then, mysteriously, at the end of the novel, her illnesses disappear when she is caring for Maddie.